What's up, co-reporters, and welcome back to my channel. Season 1, a 90-Day Fiance star Mike. Wow, I don't even know how to tell you this, but he was charged with some very serious, very heinous crimes, and I really want to go over the information with you guys. I first caught wind of it when I was looking at sarcasm.net, which is one of my favorite pop culture websites. I totally recommend you check it out. I will have a link to the article in the description box down below, but just to back things up, Mike was 31 years old when he appeared on the show with his 21-year-old Russian fiance, Aziza. They met online because he was trying to learn Russian and she was trying to learn English, and they developed a bond. He went over to Russia to meet her, and a couple days later, I think it was just 9 days later, they decided to go ahead and get married. It was very clear throughout their season. I remember it actually because this was a big part of their storyline, that his family members did not approve of the relationship. They felt that Aziza was very cold towards Mike. It didn't seem like she was into him. One thing that always skews me out personally about the relationship was that Mike looked like a grown-ass man and Aziza looked like a child to me. She looked like a teenager. I know she was 21, but just even in this picture, like her body language and demeanor, like she just carried herself like a child. And it was always strange to me how a grown-ass man could be attracted to that. Like, even here's another photo of them. Does this not look like a father consoling his teenage daughter, right? Like, and I think that that was mentioned a couple of times by his friends as well. Like, she's too young, dude. She's just starting off her life. You're 31, which is not old, but it's grown. 21 is like, oh, like you're legal and whatnot, but you're not grown. You know what I mean? So anyway, that always skeeved me out. So now finding out these disgusting charges that have been levied against him, I gotta say that I am not surprised, although I am truly disgusted. So Sarcasm is reporting that Michael has been arraigned and released on bond in his child form case. Okay. Obviously, we're not going to use the actual word highlighted here for YouTube purposes. I don't want my video blacklisted, so we're going to call it child form instead. Let's get into the article and see what exactly happened. So he was arraigned on federal charges of child pornography on June 28th, which was just a couple of weeks ago, and he posted his bond and was released the same day that he was arraigned. And obviously, when you've got charges, especially these sorts of charges, there are a list of restrictions that you must adhere to while you are out on bond. And we are going to get into that after we get into his actual charges and what it was that led to him being arrested and charged. So according to Sarcasm, Michael was charged after the grand jury determined that he knowingly possessed a black HP desktop computer that contained child pornography as defined in Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 2256(8). And at least one image involved in the offense involved a prepubescent minor or a minor who had not attained 12 years of age. Wow, Mike, what the heck is this, dude? Not even 12 years. Like, wow, 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 wow. Michael was also charged with receipt and distribution of visual depictions of real minors engaged in, you know what, explicit conduct. My jaw is on the floor. One thing that I will proudly, loudly say is I think that people who commit these sorts of crimes, right, innocent until proven guilty and whatnot. But I think people who do these sorts of things are not, how do you call this? They can't be rehabilitated, right? And the punishments against them should be stricter than they are. Castrate them, gouge their eyeballs out, right? Chop off their wieners. Anything you can do, because these people are sick and twisted. Like, what is that? There's no punishment strict enough for someone like this. Oh my God. I'm disgusted just reading it. Let's continue along though. He was also charged with receipt and distribution of visual depictions. Okay, I said that. The grand jury determined that Michael did knowingly receive and distribute using any means and facility of interstate and foreign commerce. Wow. Numerous computer files. So he paid for it? Allegedly, which files contained visual depictions of real minors engaged in explicit conduct. Honestly, like, what the hell? They always look so creepy together, And this is nothing against her. Obviously, she has got nothing to do with it, but it just goes to my earlier point. Like when I would watch them together on the show, I'd be like, why is a grown man interested in a girl that looks like a teenager? That's weird. They don't look like in the same age range. They don't look like, you know what I mean? And now we know the appeal for people like this. There's another person in the 90 Day Fiance universe, by the way. Obviously, I can't say his name because it's not fair because he hasn't done anything like that, who gave me these sorts of vibes. If something comes out about him and things similar to this one day, I will be like, wow, I'm not surprised, right? Because his relationship with his wife was also creepy. She was also barely legal. In fact, she wasn't even legal. Apparently, she was 14 when they met for the first time, and he knew he wanted to marry her, and he was grown. He was in his 20s. You know what I mean? And then like he married her coincidentally when she was, or conveniently when she was 18, just freshly 18. Like there's a lot of creeps in the 90 Day Fiance universe. And like the whole basis of these relationships is exploitation, right? Anyway, Michael's bond was set at $20,000 and he posted that on June 28th and everything like that. So let's get into like the restrictions that he's facing now that these charges are looming over his head. He's not allowed to access computer or internet service providers. He, without written approval of the U.S. Pretrial Services and Probation Officer Court. Imagine that. So does that not include your cell phone? Because our phones these days, they're smartphones, are they not? Are they not smartphones with the internet? How do you touch your thing without accessing the internet, right? When I message people, it's on WhatsApp. And guess what? WhatsApp, what you need to use that? Internet or data, right? Like the apps, they're all based on the internet. So what can he really do, right? Yeah, so if he has his hand on any computers or anything like that, they can be searched and whatnot. He's also not allowed to, he has to consent to, the legal people performing unannounced examinations of his computer systems, and that can include copying all memory from the hardware and software of his computer systems just to make sure that he is not continuing to allegedly consume this disgusting, vile, reprehensible content online. Doesn't he have a child? Is this not a father of a child? Ugh. Aziza, I hope you leave him. I wouldn't trust this man around my child. Are you kidding me? That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I wouldn't even be able to look at this man. Yeah, so all the passwords and stuff that he has for his computers needs to be turned over. He cannot have any contact with minors. And it's not clear if that includes his own child because like I said, he and Aziza, I believe they had their first child together in 2019, which would mean that she is only like 4 or 5 years old at this point, right? So speaking of his child being 4 or 5 years old, his daughter, no less, I wonder how this works. Mike, were you ever driving your kid to school? Because now I don't think you can. Were you like a PTA dad? Were you into volunteering at the school? Because now you can't. If she's got a school play, you can't go. If she's got play dates with her friends, it can't be at your house. You can't drop her off at her friend's house. You can't take her to the park. You see how hard this makes life for his daughter and his wife, that he cannot do anything with her because of what he's allegedly decided to do on the internet? Wow, man, this is just sick and twisted, you guys. Holy moly. The defendant shall not frequent or loiter within 1,000, that's a lot, feet of schoolyards, playgrounds, theme parks, arcades, swimming pools, skating rinks, toy stores, and other places where persons under the age of 18 play, congregate, or gather without prior express written approval of the U.S. Pretrial Services and Probation Office. So like I said, he can't do any of these things with his kids. Is the kid having a birthday party at Disneyland? Not if dad's trying to come. Nope. Right? The defendant shall not seek, obtain, or maintain any employment, volunteer work, church, or recreational activities involving minors. He had to give up his passport. He can't get another passport. Cannot obtain a firearm. And there are many, many more other things that he must adhere to, other restrictions that he must adhere to while he is out on bail. I will allow you to go ahead and read them all for yourself on the starchasm.net website, which will be linked down below. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what was going on. Mike, dude, do I believe he did it? I don't believe he didn't do it, right? Like I said, this relationship never sat right with me. A grown-ass man, I know she was 21, but she looked like a teenager, right? She looked barely legal. She carried herself like a teenager, like a barely legal person, right? Like a child. So this relationship always came off strange to me. So him going from this exploitative situation with a much younger girl who would have just been finishing university, and his grown ass would have been like 10 years out of university, coming to a country where she doesn't know the language, she doesn't know anybody, and she's just so vulnerable and whatnot. Anyone who would seek out a relationship like that, to me, is fundamentally not the greatest person. You know, and this is not against you guys with age gap relationships. I've had boyfriends 10 years older than me. It's different, right? I don't look like a child. I don't carry myself like a child, right? And I was also not a vulnerable person, because guess what? I was in the same country. I had finished my schooling. I had a job. I owned a condo. I owned a car. You know what I mean? It's different. It doesn't like automatically mean that just because there's a 10-year or a whatever, it's a case by case. And to me, this case specifically seemed creepy from the beginning. And that's why I'm not surprised that these charges are coming down on him. Remember, Mike is innocent until proven guilty, but it's not looking too good. It's not looking too good. And just like I said, most of these 90-Day Fiance couples have been creepy and exploitative, but there's another one where the man gave me predatory vibes. And you know what? You guys, if you're day one 90-Day Fiance watchers, you will know who I'm talking about. He was doing a mission trip when he met this 14-year-old girl that he thought was so beautiful. He had to come back for her just before her 18th birthday so he can lock her down, when she turned 18. Is that normal to you, or is it creepy? Let me know what you think about that. And Mike being charged with these heinous crimes as well in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.